Yes, dear students, today discuss about the second language English. Today we have selected the first lesson in English, A Day in the Ashram. Prose first. Unit A Day in the Ashram, written by C.F. Andrews. Introduction of the poet C.F. Andrews. He was born in 1871 to 1940. He was an English priest of the Church of England. He was born in England, but he lived in India. He was a poet and he was an educator and he was the freedom fighter of our country. He became Mahatma Gandhi's closest friend and one of the associates. He was a freedom fighter in India. Andrews reveals his experience while he stayed in the ashram. He was staying in the ashram one day. His experiences expresses this lesson, A Day in the Ashram. Shantiniketan was one of the schools in India. Shantiniketan school was founded by Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore was one of the Nobel awarded person. He wrote one of the famous book, Gitanjali. The Gitanjali means the collections of poems. He was awarded the Nobel Prize of that epic or literature. It is one of the school with difference type of education of that school, where students learn with great and joyful. A Day in the Ashram was expresses the experience of the Andrews one day alive in that school. Paragraph number 1. Words cannot picture to you the beauty of Shantiniketan. Our own poet and teacher, whom we call Gurudev, has named it in his song, the darling of our hearts, and it is worthy of the name. All who have visited the ashram, one old and young alike, have left its inner beauty growing more and more upon them. Words cannot picture to you the beauty of Shantiniketan. Shantiniketan is one of the natural school. The beauty is more and more because it is one of the nature school. The students were learned after school bottom of the trees. The teacher taught them naturally limited books of that age. Our own poet and teacher, whom we called Gurudeva. Gurudeva means Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore was famous for India because he wrote the national anthem Jana Gana Mana. We are all sing the song before the beginning of the school. He has named it in his song, the darling of our hearts. The darling of our hearts. The school is very famous. Should be learned the students. Therefore, the call of the school, the darling of our hearts. And it is worthy of the name. The name is also called it the darling of our hearts. All who have visited the ashram. More and more peoples, old and young peoples, are also visited the school. Their opinion is different. Alike have felt its inner beauty growing more and more upon them. Two beauties are there, inner and outer. In this school, students were learned the inner beauty. The inner beauty is most important to learn the and development of their knowledge. Second paragraph. If I were to describe to you one day in the ashram with the boys, that would perhaps best bring home to you its inner beauty. Long before sunrise, like the birds in our own amloki groves, our boys are awake. The choristers are the first to rise and they go round the ashram, singing their morning hymn. You can hear the voices in the distance, drawing nearer and nearer. And then the sound dies away as the choir passes on to another part of the ashram. And then again it becomes nearer and nearer. The beauty of the sound in the silent morning air and the sense of joy and reverence it brings you peace to the soul. If I were to describe to you one day in the ashram with the boys, C.F. Andrews lived in one day in that ashram with the boys after school. That would perhaps best bring home to you its inner beauty. The students are developed their knowledge, the inner beauty hits. Long before sunrise, before the sunrise, the students were awakened 5 to 5:30 in the early morning. Like the birds in our own amloki groves. More and more trees are there, different type of trees are there. The birds are singing in the early morning. The students were awakened after sound. The choristers are the first to rise. The first rises of the chorister. Chorister means the sing the song with music instruments. The choristers were awakened in the early morning and they were around the premises of the school. Our boys awakened. The choristers are to first rise and they go round the ashram. The choristers sing the song with their instruments and around the big round of that school premises. You can hear the voice in the distance, drawing nearer and nearer. The students were singing the song with music, instruments, nearer and nearer. It's very good sound, melodious sound. Drawing nearer and nearer. They were come to the near. The sound is very wonderful. And then the sound dies away. When the chorister goes to the far off, the sound is very dies. And then again, it becomes nearer and nearer. Again, they come to the nearer and nearer. The sound will be awakened and hearing the beautiful sounds. The beauty of the sound in the silent morning air. The situation is in the early morning, very peace of area. Only sounds of chorister sound and the birds sound in the early morning. Sense of joy and reverence. The students were very enjoyed of that school premises. And the peoples were given to the reverence which it brings, give peace to the soul. That sound should be very, very interesting of the subject of the students. They were very praise to the God. Hymn, a song of praise to God. They were also remembrance of the God. The chorister, very, very wonderful of that school premises. The music instruments song. After the interval, each boy takes his asana. After the choristers sing the song, next one is yoga or asanas. Yoga are different type of asanas. Is square of carpet. Situation of that yoga, then all of the students will bring one of the carpet and spread the land and sitting the yoga positions, and they were doing the different type of yogasanas. Into the fields and sit down on it to meditate. First they were do the meditate. Meditate means very decent and very silent. Do the exercise. They pray to the God. Meditate in his own place alone. All of the students, they were sitting in different type of areas. They were doing the exercises, they were doing the yogasanas and meditate. Later on, before the school works begin, after the meditate, they will start the school activities. School activities should be start. Before the school work begins, the boys all stand together in the shade of the trees and sing their hymn. The school work will begin. The boys all stand together. They were standing in the field, bottom of the trees. They were gathered, and in the shade of trees and sing their hymn. Give one word. One who makes a plan. Hymn, a song of praise to God. One who makes a plan. One of the word is called draftsman. Hymn means a song of praise to God. They were all gathering in one of the big trees, and they were a song praise to God called hymn. Till about 10:30, the work of the school goes on, and after 10:30 morning, they were goes to the school. We have no classroom. Nowadays, the classrooms, particular schools and colleges, has been here, but of that age, in the primitive age, 18th to 19th century begin, the schools are not only for teacher and one of the students are gathering there. The teacher is seated middle, and the students were sitting around the teacher. They were taught to them. The boys sit with their teachers in the open air. This situation nowadays is available in the military education. They will do the work. Under the trees, the school is under the tree. The students were gathered there. The teacher is taught them bottom of the trees. A group of 8 or 10 boys and all seated around the teacher. Group of the students were 8 to 10 in one group, one of the teacher. They were taught to them. Very few books. The teacher is taught them with very few books. But nowadays, so many books. In the 8th standard, 10 books, 10 textbooks. In the 9th standard, 10 and also 10 textbooks are there. But then the teacher taught them. The teacher taught them with few books only. A greater part is carried asking him questions. The teacher asked him questions with the textbooks and the nature. Nature is very beauty of that school premises. A greater part is carried on through conversation. A greater part is carried on through conversation. The teacher taught with them the conversation system, various type of teaching system, storytelling system, questioning method, narrating method, various type. Storytelling method. The boys soon learn to open out all their difficulties to their teachers. The boys soon learn. They will learn in that premises. The teacher taught to open out all their difficulties to their teachers. And the teachers get keenly interested in the boys' questions and answers. Such living education can never be dull. Intelligent or clever. The boys soon learn to open out all their difficulties to their teachers. The teacher with the students discuss about that matter, ask a few questions to the teachers, their learning system. And the teachers get keenly interested in the boys. The teacher should be very, very interested to teach them with question and answers. Ask the questions and get the answers. Such living education can never dull. There is no dull students. They were all very interested and intelligent fellows. When the morning work is over, the boys bath and go to their meal. After the bath, they have taken to the meals. In the morning work, after morning, they were bath and go to the meals. About 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the classes begin again. After 2 o'clock in the afternoon, after 2 o'clock, afternoon classes will be begin. But at this time, the work is chiefly with the hands as well as with the mind. But at this time, the work is chiefly with the hands as well as with the mind. What was their interested activities? They will do the learning topics, afternoon session. Handiwork is practiced, and the boys' own natural tastes are very soon discovered. Handiwork is practiced, which is like the students, they will do to their works. You see, others, some prefer carpentry. Mechanical, spinning, weaving, and other skilled draftsmen, painter, others are musicians. Which classes are interested of the students, they will do to the work. Some students go to the carpentry, woodwork, wood design, and wood work will be prepared, wood furniture will be prepared, or dolls are prepared. Whatever they interested due to the work of carpentry. And some of their mechanical work, machinery works are there. They were due to the few students. And some of the students were going on spinning. They were going to the spinning in the cotton. And they were due to the use of spinning and weaving. So, of those works are prepared there also. Due to the some works are there. And they draftsmen or painters. Another students were going on the painting work. And others goes to the musicians. They were also using the musical instruments and they will practice to the music instruments. There is very little book, work in the afternoon. School is over at about 4 o'clock and then there is a rush to get first into the great open fields for football. Our Shantiniketan boys are famous everywhere for their sports and game. After the school time in the evening, there is very little books. Only for few books are taught the teachers. School is over at about 4 o'clock. After the 4 o'clock, they had start with their rush to get first into the great open fields of football. They are going to games in the field. The very famous game, the football of those students. Our Shantiniketan boys are famous. The Shantiniketan school boys are very famous for games and sports. In this school was very famous in the olden days. In the evening, at sunset, at the time of sunset in the evening, they return from the fields and sit down once more for a short time to meditate in silence. In the evening, in the west, the sunset is gone. Then the students were returned to the fields and sit down once more for a short time. Within a short time, 5 or 10 minutes, they were practiced the